So what sets Portugal apart? What makes Portugal so unique and so special? What attracts people from all over the world, all walks of life, all ages, to our little country? These were some of the questions we were asking ourselves in 2018. The answer was simple. We have been perfecting simplicity for thousands of years. The phrase, Portugal the Simple Life, made perfect sense. And fast forward to 2020, Portugal the Simple Life podcast was born. And it all started in episode 1, in a conversation that we didn't even film, at the beginning of a pandemic, where I asked CEO of the Leisure Launch Group, David Patricio, the following question. Portugal, the simple life. Why?
It probably has to do with the fact that we, in the old days when Portugal wasn't in vogue, I mean, nowadays you talk to, it doesn't matter where you go on the planet and you talk to people about Portugal, they're like, oh my God, I want to live there. But there was a time, a short while ago, that people would ask you, why would you want to live there? And I know my answer was always, I don't know, it's just so simple. It was really difficult to explain. That's gained traction. I mean, Dill, you and I have spoken about it a lot. I think it's the way that the Portuguese people approach life. It's just uncomplicated. Just really, really simple. And I think what's happened in this world is that most countries, progress equals busy. Everybody's rushing, chasing their tails, trying to beat something which they're not sure what it is that they're trying to beat. And then you arrive in Portugal and people are just calm. They have simple, very simple needs. A good coffee, good food. We'll often hear the Portuguese talking about food. Food dominates a lot of our life. Family, good wine.
For me, it's the little things, but they're not the little things, they're big things. It's the little things. Today, driving here, the old man on the tractor, waving like he does every single day, except today he's giving a thumbs up. We're in the middle of this coronavirus thing, and here's this guy just doing what he does every single day.
The simple thing is just so huge. I mean, we're talking about the coronavirus. You look all over the news and around the world, people are rushing into supermarkets, cleaning the shelves, doing chaos. Portuguese are doing very much what they did with the crisis, the global crisis. They just settle down and they just quietly think, okay, well, we need to be organized. There's no point in us rushing. Let's just go home. Let's stay home. The government said that the supermarkets will stay open. It's all very controlled. Nobody's rushing. No preppers at the supermarket rushing out there with
We've got toilet paper.
Yeah, toilet paper. But there's nobody rushing out there with trolleys and with the race that goes on. There's this consideration for your fellow human being, for your neighbor. Let me leave some on the shelf for him. There might be others who will also want.
Okay, so talking about food. The food is simple.
Yeah.
What's your favorite food?
Food has got to be my favorite subject in Portugal, because Portuguese people have a tendency to argue over a lot of irrelevant things, one of them being football. But the only subject that they don't argue about is food. Food, I can understand, because, I mean, we start thinking about food at about 9:30 in the morning. Our Portuguese day, which makes it so different to my background, is I grew up, or I started my professional life in an environment which most of us do, where we're up early in the morning, onto the public transport, getting to work, feeling constantly that you're in a race, in there. If everyone else gets in at 8, you get in at 7:30 and try and be ahead of the queue. And then you arrive here in Portugal and life starts at 9. And the first thing you do is you go and have a coffee. I mean, it's the place where you bond, you connect with everybody at all levels in the organization, whether it's a colleague at your own level, below your level, your boss. In that environment, everybody just has the coffee. And then by, I don't know, 11 o'clock, you're already thinking, what are we going to have for lunch?
And one of the things that I had to get used to when I first got here, because I'm originally from Johannesburg. In Johannesburg, you don't stop for lunch. You grab a pie on your way to the next. It's the most unhealthy thing, but you grab a pie on your way to your next meeting. You have a sandwich. And then you come here, and the first time that I was here, people said, okay, now we're going for lunch. And you're thinking it's going to be this 15-minute thing, and it's not. It's an hour. And you sit, you eat to enjoy. The food is slow. Usually people have a glass of wine or a bottle of beer, and you take your time, and you never talk about work. It's always, and it's just a beautiful custom. You're forced to slow down. You're forced to stop. It's just completely different to anything that I'd experienced before.
But I want to talk more about that simplicity of the Portuguese. I mean, most countries that have a way of cooking that almost is always, in a sense, complicated. Whereas the Portuguese approach is, I mean, the French love to pour sauce over everything. Each nationality has got its own spice that they introduce to the cooking. And then you get to the Portuguese, and they're like, if you're going to put sauce over something, if you're going to put spice over something, it's because you don't know how to cook, buddy. Exactly. Everything's just so simple.
My wife's Portuguese, and that's how she cooks. A bit of garlic, some coarse salt, and olive oil. And that's it. And
how many liters of olive oil do you go through in your home?
I mean, if we don't have olive oil and we don't have garlic in our house, we've got a serious problem for cooking. Over the next 2 years, with more than 100,000 audio downloads, over 5,000 minutes of interview time, with guests from more than 20 different nationalities, and until now, episode 100, we continued asking the question. Portugal, the simple life? Why? 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 Portugal, the simple life? Why?
It's about humanity. It's not about money or materialism. It's about quality of life.
Yeah, and for me, it's simple things like going to a cafe with a friend, sitting there having a conversation without looking at your cell phone every 5 minutes. So it's simple life, meaning it comes back to the basics of what it means to be human, to relate, to connect, to enjoy nature, to enjoy culture, to enjoy each other. So the distractions are less here than in other places.
Well, what do you mean simple life? Starting for that. You know, I have a very simple life here because I'm living in a beautiful property, beautiful landscape. I spend my time with doing things that I love, like the cattle, like the wine. I'm very keen horse rider. I have beautiful horses. So for me, this is very simple. But is this a simple life? I think for common people, it's probably not simple. For me, it's simple. I don't spend money in stupid things. I just enjoy this beautiful life that I have in this place. And this is typical Portuguese. When I was working, I was CEO of this Dutch company, and we had a lot of Dutch youngsters, very clever people that came here to get some training with me in our company. And they got absolutely crazy about Portugal because they said, you know, here in Portugal, you can do a very simple life without spending money. And if you want to have something close to this in any other country in the world, you have to spend 20 times more. You have to be millionaire to afford this kind of thing. So I believe this is one of the good things of this country, to have a simple life and be affordable and enjoy this beautiful life.
Because it slows you down. slows you down. If you're used to being a super anxious, high-powered, high-paced life person, like I was, like most people are in those really high-octane cities, Portugal is the dose that you need to slow you back down.
Yes, it is. It is a simple life. It is a simple life. It's a society that doesn't take itself too seriously. There's a kind of modesty that's very attractive, and you know, it's a small country. You're always within easy reach of the beach, and very often you'll be the only person on the beach because there's room for everybody. And then if you drive in the other direction, you can get into the most breathtakingly beautiful countryside. It's a very hilly country. So in fact, you almost have the impression there's more of it than there actually is. And it gets remote quite easily. Quite easily. Yeah, it's a life that's relatively hassle-free, I would say.
Why? That is a great question. Portuguese people in general really know how to live a simple life, and all those simple pleasures from just going out for dinner, being with family and friends, and being generous to each other, and helping your neighbors. And I just feel it's a really great way to describe the Portuguese people. And again, as I said, all my students, either from Portuguese descent or all full Americans, you know, or they really love that about Portugal. That's something that the Portuguese people are well known for. So I think we should all be proud of our simple life and value it above all.
Well, Dylan, I started my career as a journalist, and I spent many years editing magazines, consumer magazines and lifestyle magazines. So I have a terrible tendency for alliteration, as most journalists who write headlines learn very quickly. So if you ask me, Portugal, the simple life, why? I would have to say it's the focus on family, friends, food, and fitness. Fitness meaning quality of lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle, not too much stress, and balance. And that is why Portugal offers you the simple life.
Fantastic. I love it. The 4 Fs. So,
the 4 Fs.
So
good food, good conversation, great wine, and beautiful, beautiful weather.
Okay. Short and sweet.
Mm.
I like it.
I think, as I told you before, we are a peaceful country. Everything comes out really, really smoothly. And we have a community spirit over here. And because of that, everything is so much easier, so less complex, and it makes you very simple to do whatever you need. And I think that a short answer is good, yeah?
It's good. Short and sweet. Like an espresso.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Perfect.
The simple life, because it's again, it's not it's an easy and not easy answer, but what we all learn from this craziness of being locked down, and I really felt the privileges were huge, because here what Portugal offers is really this, let's say, you have sun, you have amazing food, that you have everything available, everything that you need to prepare amazing food at home. It's available in where we are in the countryside. Easily you can go to these small markets, grab some vegetables, grab some nice cheese, amazing homemade bread, and you have like the most gourmet and fantastic food with simple stuff. You don't really, sometimes people look for the next combination. Fusion is very trendy right now, and sometimes when you just grab a bread that was just baked in a wooden oven and you spread butter, you know, for me this is a simple thing that pleases me the most, you know. And this is the thing, you have so many simple things that give you such a pleasure. You just have to be more aware of them and to really you know, give them the worth they need, because
They deserve.
they deserve, exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's really the simple stuff that matter, you know. And people now were aware of that, at least I think they are more aware of that. And so it's really sometimes when you think that you need it's a bit, I'm not going to say that everybody wants to have a big car, a big house, a big this, a big that. This is of course, I'm going to be very so I'm not, it's cliche, you know, it's a bit of a cliche, but it's true that at the end what people really now the biggest privilege is to be healthy, to stay healthy, you know, and to enjoy the simple stuff in life. And this is what I think in Portugal is easy to do, because easily you can have a great wine, great cheese, great bread, and you know, it's a simple stuff that pleases you. So, and this is something that for me it is what makes sense, you know. And to be around with friends and family and just have a hug, just be able to share with them what's important in life, you know. So this is what at the end matters.
Beautiful.
Because you have time to live, especially if you're coming from, you know, very busy and hectic city in the US or any other country around the world. You get here to Portugal and you still have all the comforts of being in a major city, in Lisbon and Porto, but you actually have time to sit back and live and discover new things about yourself and to make new connections that you've never had before.
We are the only country in the world with two living Pritzkers, award-winning Pritzker architects, Sotomora and Cisa Vieira. If you look at their architecture, there is one overriding characteristic. The buildings will be white, and you will understand where the windows and the doors are, and the walls. That's all. That's all there is to it, you know. And they are just absolutely beautiful in their simplicity. Absolutely beautiful in their simplicity. Mm. That's the way we are. Even though we invented the word Barocco, you know, Barocco means an imperfect pearl. It's a Portuguese word. That's where the word Baroque comes from. And even though when people think of Portugal, they think about the Baroque architecture of the Catholic churches. It's not at all what makes us. No. It's the small chapels, you know, out in the fields that, you know, make the core of the way we pray and live our religion. So I think we are a country, a culture and the people that will take anything and boil it down to its simplest expression. So Portugal, a simple life, definitely.
I love it, and I think we are a Baroque, we are an imperfect pearl.
We are the imperfect pearl. Yeah. Oh, absolutely,
beautiful,
absolutely. I agree
Wonderful.
with that.
Because simple, in the end, has a lot more richness to it. It's in the simple things. Happiness and joy is in the simple things. That's why. It's simple.
Beautiful.
For me, because I lived in big cities, and I appreciate very, very, very much the simplicity of the people down here and the quality of life. I think we have one of the best quality of lives you can have.
Well, I'll try and interpret that. I think a little bit like I was talking about Alentejo is that things are a little bit like they were, like you're going back in time a little bit, and maybe Portugal is like that in a way as a whole. Life is just maybe a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more laid back, and that's and you can enjoy the simple things in life.
Because it's a smooth. This is the word. It's a smooth country. It's people is not complex. It's simple. Most of the times they are what they look like. I mean, when you have a conversation, and this makes a difference. I always think in United States, now people you are with an American. I mean, it's different people. Everything is fine, it's great, but then you see it's not great. Yeah, they say, oh, it's okay, but then it's more than okay. So the expectation is always less than what you're gonna get, and which is amazing. It's difficult when you're expecting to get the whole thing, and then you get one little thing. And with the people in Portugal, it's simple because the people are simple, and they talk from the heart most of the time. As everywhere, you have shitty people, but most of the people, I can tell you, I have, without ending, examples of good things with Portuguese people, things that you don't expect from some kind of people. You expect from some kind of people, but not from some other. And last week I was, which is simple. I make a deal with a company who paints bridges and things, and I bring some things to repair. And then when I ask the guy, say, how much? He said, no, Shakal, there's nothing. I say, no, please charge me. No. I say, what you been doing for the hospital and the things, I really love it. And it's like this. I say, no, please, no. They say, I really, it's my honor to do that. So like, no, this is simple. And
I think authenticity, yeah, it is what it is. You know, it's like one of the only places in the world that I sometimes just feel content. I just feel happy. Like just taking a walk. I take a walk every morning, like in like winter at 7 in the morning. In summer it comes down to 6. Okay. And I promise you, it's like absolutely amazing. Portuguese wake up late, so it's just me and my dog, you know, do my walk. It's content. It's just authentic. It's like, it is what it is, you know. And then on the way back from my walk, I'm like thinking about the coffee I'm going to have. And I just, you know, and I then enjoy that coffee. Like I never knew that was possible, but you know, you get to enjoy the coffee, you know. So I think those are the really, really good things about Portugal. Going through and spending 80 euros and staying at an incredible little hotel in the middle of nowhere, and then, you know, having some great food, meeting some really amazing people, Googling and finding out interesting facts about where you are. You know, it's an old country. You understand, with lots that's gone on here. It's just so authentic. I think that's a really huge thing. I think that's the biggest thing I take from it. And really, like I said, you know, I've traveled the world, and even when we're traveling the world, because of that saudade, that word, we would like look for a Portuguese restaurant. You know, it was like sometimes we would be out there, and after 3-4 weeks we'd go, geez, we just need like a Portuguese restaurant. How are we going to find it? And we'd go there, and you sit down, and they give you your super box, and you know, you've got your beer, and you know, you've got your bitoque, whatever it may be, and you just feel like, shit, all right, this is okay, you know. Like you know, I'm not someone who thinks we should save TAP, but I promise you, even when I used to get on the flight, I used to come home. It was like a weird thing, you know.
Brilliant.
Well, I just explained about the simplicity of food, the purity of food, the seafood, the people. They're just very easy to get on with. And then, you know, I'm sitting on this very, very simple island where I have been living the simple life since November. And whilst that may well have been the coldest winter in the Algarve in 10 years, for me, the weather has still been incredible. So everything about it, but that simplicity of people, food, culture. I mean, the culture isn't simple. All appeals to me. The only thing that really isn't simple is the language.
Give it time. Give it time.
Okay.
Well, because in my opinion, the simple life is a way of being. Like I told you, I have like half genetics from North and South, and people from South are known to be doing things slowly, you know, and being simple. It's also for me the biggest lesson I've learned in Nepal. Local people are so simple, and it's on that simplicity that they found a shorter path for happiness. You know, the more you have, the more stress you create and the less happy you are. You think people who have a lot of things, they think they are happy, but finally they're not. Always struggling with a lot of issues. And I've learned that I want to keep having a simple life, not having, I mean, it's our obligation to be happy. Not to have a big house or a fast car. No, it's just to be happy. And I've worked so hard to be happy on what I do, or to do something that makes me happy. So yeah, Lisbon, Portugal, a simple life. That's me.
Because we are, the Portuguese are simple and honest people. I do believe that as a community, we live by the less is more phrase. You can see that in our cuisine. The most famous dish outside Portugal is bacalhau, and bacalhau is literally cooked on water with cooked potatoes and a bit of olive oil, and that's it. So I think that reflects perfectly who we are. We are very simple. We take life very simply as well. So, I mean, we are proud as well of being Portuguese. So, you know, that's why life is simple in Portugal.
For me, nature, the simple life, nature. For example, even in the pandemic, okay, which has caused a lot of problems for many people, you can do something pleasurable because we're allowed to go out walking. So you can go out walking in nature, and that's something simple and something very pleasurable, something very important, something very good for your health, and something that I do on a regular basis. Like if I have to go shopping here, I walk to the shops. How do I walk to the shops? I walk through some forest and scrubland that I can walk through, and wonderful to see the butterflies, the flowers, the birds, whatever's there. And that is simple life. And I think when I use the word simple, I think being with nature is a contrast to the technological modern life that we're all caught up in. Yeah, that you can escape to nature by just walking into a wood, or walk alongside a river, or go to the beach, or any of these places are nature, and it is simple. And I think that's something which I've already said. In Portugal, we have wonderful countryside, and we have farming areas. We have all these different types of countryside here.
Okay,
and
wonderful.
The simple life. Go and connect with nature. Go for a walk.
I think that in one word, it's the people of Portugal that makes so simple to live there. I think the people helps you in every way. They are always happy to receive other people, to help in any case. And then now that I'm living in different countries for some years, I know what it is to have something to solve and to ask for help in the street, or in the bank, or in any kind of situations that you have to solve, and how easy it is to do it in Portugal, and that you can just talk to anybody in the street and everyone is happy to help. This is, for me, really, really special in Portugal, and makes life so simple and beautiful in this country.
pursuit of happiness. That's it. There seems to be a collective history here of ups and downs, and challenges and triumphs, but it's all resulted in a culture that has a collective desire to live happily and to treat each other well and to be supportive of one another. And to me, that's the definition of the pursuit of happiness.
Well, simple, not simplistic. Why? Because, well, I would wanted to use a metaphor from the architecture, but because why more when you have everything with less things? I think the simple things are the best ones, and when you appreciate them and you have value to them, you don't need much more. And I think Portugal has all that. As the architect would say, it's less is more, and so and more it's a bore. So I would say that appreciate the small things, and you have all these people, foods, and just a grilled fish, an amazing grilled fish close to the sea, with a nice glass of wine, and ending up, of course, with a great cup of coffee that it's good also in Portugal. So, I think that's why say more when it's less.
So I think the thing that hits me most is social fabric. You know, this is a place where family is still central, where communities know each other, where neighbors help each other. I'm coming from a big city where I lived on a road and didn't know half my neighbors. That's really valuable. You don't know how valuable it is until you find it. And I think Portugal has that, and it's really special. And I hope it keeps it, you know. So yeah, the social fabric of the place, and it is open to you if you want it. If you want to get involved, you want to have a local cafe, if you want to have the restaurateur down the road, remember your name and bring your favorite order. It's possible, it's there.
Here in Portugal, you have everything you need. It's a small country, but it's got your essentials. You know, it's kind of like when people ask, what would you take if you lived on a deserted island? It's kind of like it has all your essentials. It has the great food, the great weather, the great people, the great cultural scenes. So it's got everything mixed into one place, which is just exactly what we need to be happy and to grow as people.
Ooh, the simple life. It is simple if you appreciate simple things. I would say that, and that's the part of the Portuguese, actually, what Steven was mentioning earlier, that people who are doing any kind of simple work, they are actually happy. And I believe it's also depends because of the weather, it impacts you a lot. So in a way it's simple because the basic things what human needs, they are here, and therefore no matter what you do, it's simple.
You, at the end of the day, you have to want the simple life. You know, you have to work on the simple life. Unfortunately, my life right now is not simple because I'm busy going around making videos and editing videos, and I've actually started thinking to myself, God, I need to somehow quieten down my life a little bit. But our most recent video was with this couple that they met in New York City. They met in Central Park, and they've been together for it seemed like about 20 years, and they just decided to move to Lisbon to enjoy the simple life. And they look like they have it, you know. They're an example of people that have it. You just have to get that balance, you know. You don't have to work 12 hours a day. You need to, you know. That's why our recent video as well, where we had this British conductor, and he said, I've moved to Lisbon because I like the more relaxing pace. He said, I realized that, you know, I don't have to work 12 hours a day. So if you're the type of person that actually likes working 12 hours a day, you know, you might come to Lisbon, you might still work 12 hours a day, but maybe it's better, you know, not to, and maybe go to the beach from time to time and enjoy what Lisbon has to offer.
everything for me is simple here. The people are simple. The food is simple and 10 times better than complicated food, because what is better than a grilled fish with some salt on the beach and salad and a glass of wine? For me, it's the best. And the life is simple. There is no stress. I think people who come to Portugal, they realize what we all mean about the simple life. And that was also my first feeling when I came the first time. That everything here is more simple, but it gives you more satisfaction. But that people have to come here and experience themselves.
I mean, the simple life is just, man. I see myself a old guy being in far from the noise of the city, in one of so many spots, like just being on the nice shed in front of my house, see the birds around, singing, and I drink a nice coffee. That's also one of the best things we have in Portugal, coffee. And that's it. We have such a, surrounds so many beautiful places of nature, and yeah, I think that's one of the things that I looking forward the most. And
because we're simple too.
You want to elaborate?
I won this time because you're the host. What? Sorry.
Do you want to elaborate?
Yes, I want to. It's because we're not that complex. We're obvious when we're talking about our physical language is really obvious. You can tell if I'm hating a conversation on a podcast, or if I'm loving you when I'm at a coffee with you. So, and we talk about not our feelings, but we talk about everything that comes to our minds. So we're really easy to understand, easy to talk to, and really passionate and expressive. So we're simple. You just have to listen.
The simple life in Portugal is all about appreciating the small things and connection with other people, connection to nature, connection to the sunshine and a good glass of wine. And I just don't think it can be beaten.
Well said. Goosebumps. Okay.
That's what I really like when I came back home. It's the simplicity of the place, and it's the tranquility of this house, of this village. That's what I like. And I know here persons long time ago, so it's the smile of, and this very simple way of talking with everybody, even if you don't know. Even if you don't know your neighborhood, your neighbor, you talk with him, and that's what I really like this place.
Oh, sun, wine, great food, great people, laid back, fabulous. Yeah, if I could, it would be the one place. If I could buy another home, I would probably buy one in Portugal.
The life is so much more happening around the food, the beach, the ocean, your friends, sitting outside, enjoying a bit of nature, running, and having a little trip all around the country, which is so beautiful. And that's it became it became quite an obvious choice for me when I realized that I could work remote, and I believe it was the case for so many people. I don't mean just the writing, but like the other jobs. So that's it. I believe it's like if I can write, do my fall in love job in a beautiful city that I like to go through, and see plenty of friends, having nice products, go to the sea regularly and visiting easily without traveling by plane and being immediately into nature. That was, that's just the best.
The simple life, because we have everything. As a country, we can give you as many options as you want. So we are small as a country, but we have a big heart to help and to warm people that come to visit us. And most of the people that come, they want to return, and some of them, they don't leave anymore from here. They stayed and choose to live forever here.
Yeah, like me. Thank you. Awesome.
I struggled with this one. Portugal, the simple life. Ooh, because it's easy to be you. I know that sounds really weird, but I think you get it. No one really minds. You don't have to pretend to be someone you're not. You can just be the true you, and everyone's cool with it.
Because it's simple. You can have a simple life here. Actually, you can have the life that you design for yourself. I think that's the beauty of this country. You can tailor-made to yourself the life that you want to enjoy, and a simple life here means that is a life that you want to yourself, and you can do it here in this country. Thank goodness.
I think you can come to love Portugal by process of elimination, that there's a lot of things not happening in Portugal that are bedeviling other parts of the world. I think you could come to Portugal if you're already in Europe, or if you're already considering a culture and a community near water, with a kind of cosmopolitan Mediterranean-like atmosphere. But I think Portugal stands on its own to pull you in to its unique, humble, beautiful, simple, yet elegant charms. And it's one of the few places that stays with you. I came home listening to Portuguese music. I bought Portuguese cookbooks. I had Portuguese history books. Portugal has changed my life. So if you want a place that will reorient your senses and stimulate your mind about its culture and enlarge the capacity of your soul to experience the beauty of the world, go to Portugal, and go soon.
Don't tell many people about that. Otherwise, we are going to be invaded. We don't want that. We want to keep the simple life, the simple life.
Anna Karmu, it's been forever. How are you?
It has. I'm good. And you?
I'm very, very well. Very well. Good to see you. This is a very exciting moment for us. This is episode 100 of the podcast. And you are still the voice. For the people that listen on audio, you're still the voice of the podcast. So this is episode 100. You're still the voice of the podcast. How do you feel?
I am surprised because I had no idea that you were still using my voice, and I'm really glad that you chose to continue with it. And it's a pleasure to be part of the podcast and to somehow still be part of that family. So I'm really happy about that.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing in Porto at the moment. It sounds really exciting.
Yes, so I am working for Refugees Welcome Portugal, which is an NGO which purpose is to integrate migrants and refugees in our society. It has been, some tough moments, but the work that we do is really important, and especially now is even more important than ever. And we hope that people are aware of this issue and how important it is to integrate refugees and to be aware of the struggle of the community.
Yeah, amazing work.
Yeah.
And, as you know, with the podcast, there's a question that we ask all of our guests.
Yeah.
Portugal, the simple life, why?
Why the simple life? Well, for me, the simple life is all about purpose. It's about connecting with ourselves. It's about living in the moment, and it's about living life with pleasure, or taking that pleasure from life and look around what we have and how beautiful life can be, and it's just about the small things. So for me, that's how I try to live my life, even though I'm not at the Silver Coast. I'm in a different city, but even in Porto, I am able to live that life, and I am able to enjoy the simple pleasures of Portugal. So I think that's it. I think it's about enjoying life.
Awesome. I've loved this. I'm so glad that you could be part of episode 100, and I'm going to let you call it.
So that's a wrap, and welcome to the simple life.
So thank you to all our amazing guests, and thank you to all of you for listening. Please subscribe, share with your friends, give us a thumbs up, and please leave a comment or a review. We'd love to hear from you. We'll be back soon with another 100 episodes. And as we say in Portugal, obrigado. Welcome to the simple life.